Bullets flying in Democrat-run cities as Biden prepares to launch what he calls his anti-crime policy this week. As usual, Chicago saw some of the worst of the violence. Over the weekend, 49 people were shot in Lori Lightfoot's liberal utopia. 5 of them were killed. Perhaps the worst of it was this video right here, this execution. A couple returning from a Puerto Rican pride parade on Saturday night, ambushed by 3 men, dragged from their car, and shot point blank on the street as they lay there. 24-year-old Giovanni Arzuaga was pronounced dead that night, just 1 day before Father's Day. His girlfriend, the mother of his 2 kids, in critical condition. Most Democrats, and most of the media to be fair, yawn at stories like this. Just collateral damage necessary to have a society that is fair and equitable. Criminals must be coddled. They are the true victims. So far this year, there have been more than 1,600 shootings in Chicago. 1,600 shootings. Violent criminals in that city are about 71% black, about 20% Hispanic, and around 3.5% white. Victims, 75% black, 19% Hispanic, and around 5% white themselves. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who recently declared racism is a public health crisis in the city and diverted millions of dollars in COVID relief funds to address that issue, tried to paint a rosy picture. Take a listen.
We're different than other cities across the country. Every major city in the United States last year and this year has seen an unprecedented rise in violence. We're down on every other major category, but particularly in shootings and homicides related to gun violence.
Yeah, you're doing a hell of a job. Keep it up. The sad reality is no liberal really cares much at all about crime. They only really care when it threatens their power. Lori Lightfoot's actions when crime is out of control can be directly correlated to her poll numbers. If her re-election was secure, she wouldn't care about any of this. To many liberals, crime is very understandable. It's a symptom of modern society. It doesn't bother them. They don't care at all about victims of crime. We see proof of that all the time. What really matters to liberals is intention. The results don't matter of their policies as long as the intention was good, right? That's why none of Trump's progress on crime and black unemployment counted. Trump was deemed a racist. Nothing he did for progress would matter after that. Liberals are deemed as virtuous, so none of their failings matter as well. Juneteenth is a perfect example of a massive virtue signal from the left that has resulted this past weekend and will continue to in the future to result in more misery and violence. Massive Juneteenth celebrations this weekend led to 7 people killed, more than 40 shot and hurt in 10 mass shootings across the country. Again, it's good intention, doesn't matter. Shootings breaking out in Philadelphia, Atlantic City, Dallas, and not just in cities. Incidents of violence in the suburb of Aurora, Colorado, Richmond, Virginia, right outside of Oakland. Juneteenth violence also struck the pretty nice, relatively wealthy Long Branch, New Jersey community. It's a beach community there, right on the water, Jersey Shore, north side. Rioters jumping on cars in Pier Village. Look at this mayhem in this video. Let's pull it back up full screen. Multiple agencies had to be called in. The mainstream media just calling this, of course, rowdy behavior. Clearly, internal polling, though, is showing crime is a big problem for the Democrat Party, as Biden is going to speak on combating crime on Wednesday. So they got to talk about it. You know it's an issue. Today, Jen Psaki said Biden is blaming the rise in crime on guns.
It is an area where the president feels a great deal of the crime we're seeing as a result of gun violence. You can expect he'll speak to that and his commitment to continuing to address gun violence and gun safety.
You should expect a soundbite like that from the White House, of course. They're going to talk about guns. They really want to push the anti-2A agenda. And to be fair, as far as guns go, they're not entirely wrong. Guns in bad neighborhoods are a real problem. Police forces spend a lot of their time and treasure trying to get rid of illegal guns. But what about the culture problem in the country? If you really want to fix the plague of crime, you need to address the utter decay of culture in our inner city communities. We see it all the time. Look up the staggering increase in single-family black households in this country over the last 50 years. You'll be shocked at the numbers. Does that problem ever get addressed? Of course not, because liberals have no solution to that. It's easier to just install a liberal ideologue like Merrick Garland, who comes out every few days to distract from real problems in the country and talk about white supremacy.
And in the FBI's view, the top domestic violent extremist threat we face comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race.
And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism.
I mean, these people actually want to be taken seriously with this. Ignore everything you see right before your very eyes. Ignore the policies that are destroying your cities and our communities. Ignore the decay of this country. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms blamed her city's violent crime spike. It's been bad in Atlanta. She blamed it on Republicans reopening from COVID too early.
Remember, in Georgia, we were open up before the rest of the country, even before the CDC said that it was safe for us to open. So our nightclubs and our bars remain open. We had people traveling here from across the country to party in our city.
Yes, because before COVID, nobody ever went out and partied and had fun. So that's the reason why the shootings are so high. Okay. And the media, of course, working overtime to cover for the utterly insane liberal anthem of 2020. You know it well, defund the police.
I think that there are a lot of police unions and GOP operatives that would like for us to believe that this recent crime wave has everything to do with this idea of defunding the police. But guess what, Stephanie? The police haven't been defunded. So this rising crime is not the fault of the movement. It's actually the fault of the police.
It's got to be the stupidest thing I've heard all day. And I heard a lot of dumb stuff today. It was actually a very stupid day. More so than the defunding, the messaging of defund the police, of course, is what did the most damage. When you have a major political party pandering to criminals, when you have elected officials shouting to defund the police, elected officials in national office, of course, criminals are emboldened by that. They commit more crimes. They're happy to. After 8 years of anti-cop Bill de Blasio, New York City has finally devolved into the kind of city the mayor wants: drugs, homeless, and crime galore. Tomorrow is actually the mayoral primary to replace Bill de Blasio. Thankfully, much more moderate and intelligent Democrats are leading in the polls as de Blasio is term limited and finally done. And of course, we know it's not going to be a Republican. This weekend, 2 people killed in New York City, 19 wounded. And check out this video from last Thursday. This is in the middle of the day. A man being hunted down in broad daylight. A cowardly victim there in the red. He tries to hide behind little kids. Nice guy. Somehow those kids weren't hurt, thank God. The victim survived despite being shot multiple times. Welcome to New York. It all comes as the district attorney dropped looting charges for hundreds of people in New York City. Yes, it is okay to loot now in New York, especially if it's in the name of justice. A wonderful message they're sending there. This is actually video that I took. This is last June, about 1 year ago. That's Soho in Lower Manhattan. That's where all the big fancy stores are that you can't afford anything in. And these are kids going in and out of these crazy expensive European stores with bags full of goodies at 7:30 in the morning. Cops were around on both sides of that block. Of course, they were handcuffed by liberal city leaders, so they did nothing because they didn't have any support from the mayor's office or anybody else. That was the height of defund the police. Remember, cops are the problem. Look at how calm those kids were, though. They're just climbing out of a store with a bag full of stuff in broad daylight with a cop right there and just taking it. What country is that? Is that now acceptable behavior in American society? Apparently so. They're dropping all the charges. Out of the 485 looting arrests during last year's riots in New York City, 222, and by the way, 485 arrested, thousands did it. They barely arrested anybody for this stuff. We watched. 222 of those 485, which were the by far the most egregious, right? Half of them, charges dropped. And 73 actually resulted in convictions for lesser counts, like just trespassing. So basically, you go into Balenciaga, walk out with 20 grand worth of stuff, and they give you a trespassing little ticket for $100. It's unbelievable. Yet Capitol rioters, don't be fooled. It's the Capitol rioters who are still in jail that are the real problem with this country.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.